you look around, we are about 2 hours northwest of the city. And surprise, we've left and decided to check out some of the historic sites, see a plantation or two, and go into the real Cajun country around St. Francisville and show you how the Cajuns are living. So right now we're in Port Hudson. It's a state historic site. It's a battlefield from the Civil War. And we're going to go inside and find out some things about it. So come on, let's go off the trail. This tree canopy reminds me of 12 Oaks and Gone with the Wind. And here we are right in front of the house. Clear view. How beautiful this is. And off to the side of the grounds.
On 3,500 acres. They started using the local cypress and cedar, so that was, they already had all those trees growing here, and that's probably why we don't have too much anymore. They also had their own sawmill built on the site, so they didn't have to send the wood off to be processed. And there were 450 slaves built in this house. In 1955, the house was sold to a couple from Houston, Texas, the Underwoods, and they would actually restore the home. Took them 8 years, $10 million. But if they wouldn't have done that, it wouldn't be here today, basically. Alright, so this is the dining room, of course. And this is Daniel and Martha, the two builders of the plantation. They had 3 children. They had 2 boys and a girl. Unfortunately, though, they lost both of their sons. The youngest, James Daniel, died when he was 7 of yellow fever, and their oldest, William, drowned in a boating accident. Able to get up during the meal. Now, the gentlemen could get up and do whatever they wanted, but that's not fair. Now, above the table, you know what that is? Above the table? What do you think that is?
A fan.
A fan, there you go. Alright, this is what they call a polka. It's from India. The South we know it as a shoe fly. And it was ran by the child of the butler at one point. His name was Richmond. He was 11 years old. He would sit over there, pull on the rope, and have a gentle breeze go across the table to keep the bugs off of the food while they were eating. Sometimes. Didn't always the guest room. And it was built about 10 years after the house was built, so the style had changed. You have the taller ceilings. These are 14 instead of 12 foot. There's crown molding around the top, big medallion in the center. Doors are taller, columns are different on the outside. So Daniel had to keep up with the style, so the room looks different than the rest of the house. Furniture's original in here, purchased in 1835 from Kerrville out of Philadelphia. They ordered 22 crates for $925. The bed was $50 in 1835, which I wish. That doesn't seem like a lot, but believe me, that was a lot of money in the 1800s. $50 was all some people made in a year at that time. Daniel, it was like pocket change. He was making $30,000 a year, so big difference between the two classes, I guess you could say. We also have one of the bell pulls in here. That's this tapestry here on the wall. It was connected to a bell on the outside porch, and there are various ones throughout the house, and each bell had a different tone to it. So when they needed something, they would just pull on the pull and ring a bell, and the slaves would know where to go by the tone that was heard. And they had something a little bit different in here. There was a built-in shower. So they would fill up buckets of water, kind of lay it out in the sun to get warm. And once they would get warm, one of the slaves would come in and climb up a ladder that was kept in there to pour the water into the holding tank up at the top. There was a wooden tub that took up almost the whole room that the family or the guests would step into, pull on the rope, opened up a little valve, and the water would just kind of trickle in. Children had to play musical instruments, kind of like a rite of passage. The piano was from the Jones Chicory Company out of Boston. It's a square grand piano. Came along with this music stand that has 2 sides, so it's called a duet, and it was for Sarah. We still have Sarah's original music here on the stands. Well, that's not good. Okay. We also have a little tea table right here, kind of like a souvenir that the family had purchased when they went to England around 1850. It's titled and signed by the artist. It says Morning at Windsor Castle by Jennings and Bettridge. Now, I've never been to England. I have no clue what Windsor Castle looks like, but some people say that's it, and some people say it's not. But the chandelier is one of my favorites. It's not original, but it is of the time period. Kind of looks like a wedding cake with the 3 tiers.
Yeah.
It also looks like metal. It's actually hand carved.
Mariella, ready? 1, 2, 3. Mariella, look at Mom.
Looks like wedding pictures are about to happen.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Looking at the gardens from the balcony in the front of the house.
Hold your sister's hand, Hannah. So she'll pull up.
Video of the garden from the other side of the balcony.
I had a good time here. This is one of my favorite views of the whole plantation here. You know, I can see them out here drinking their mint juleps in their rocking chairs, watching the sunset over these beautiful gardens. You see the building out there? That was the doctor's office. Daniel had built that after they lost their son to yellow fever because he thought that if there was a doctor here at that time, he would still be alive. So they built the office and hired Dr. King, who took care of the family and all 450 slaves.
And that concludes our tour of Rosedown Plantation.